Now, 9 more people who've tested positive for coronavirus in the country have been found to be infected with the new mutated strain of COVID, the virus that caused SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused COVID. With this, the number of people infected with this new UK virus in India has reached 38. Remember, this virus is more infectious, and that is the reason that UK is facing a crisis right now with so many more cases being reported in Delhi. There are 8 cases that have been reported. In fact, 6 of the new cases have been reported from Kerala. From Hyderabad, there are 3 cases that have been reported, and from Bengaluru, 10 cases. So a total of 38 known cases of the UK coronavirus strain. Meanwhile, various parts of India are getting ready for the rollout of the vaccine. It's expected that the vaccine rollout should happen perhaps next week in around 10 days' time. Here's a special report.
A nondescript room, but part of a historic effort. Mumbai officials now say that thanks to such infrastructure they have put in place, they will be able to inoculate 1.25 lakh frontline health workers in just 8 days, about half the earlier estimated days. Here, Sion Hospital alone will be vaccinating nearly 1,000 a day. The hospital received an ice-lined refrigerator from the state government that can store approximately 50,000 doses.
That is the plan, and everything for that is getting ready. The training is going on of the nurses, the training is going on of the people who are going to be appointed, etc. So all those things are there. So we are ready with it as soon as the vaccine comes.
The hospital is training 50 doctors and 50 nurses for the process, especially if any complications develop.
All people who are taking vaccine, they are supposed to wait here for half an hour. During that half an hour, what untoward reactions can take place, that also will be noted. And the training for the same also is being imparted in this particular thing.
BMC says it is prepared for the first vaccination phase with 8 hospitals in all.
1,25,000 हमको हेल्थ केयर वर्कर कवर करना है। वो 1,25,000 लोगों के लिए हमारा पहला तय था कि 10 से 15 दिन में हम कवर कर लेंगे, लेकिन आज की तैयारी में ये लगता है कि हम 8 दिन के भीतर ही हमारे 1,25,000 जो हेल्थ केयर वर्कर है वो कवर हो जाएंगे, उनको वैक्सीन दी जाएगी। पूरी मुंबई के लिए हमने जो एक व्यापक एक प्लान बनाया है जिसमें करीबन 75 हमारे वैक्सीनेशन सेंटर रहेंगे और उसमें एक दिन में 50,000 लोगों को हम वैक्सीन कर पाएंगे, उनको दे पाएंगे।
BMC identified 8 hospitals, plan to have 75 more centers. The target is to immunize 12,000 people daily. Jumbo centers will also be converted to vaccine centers. BMC has identified 5,000 square feet area at Kanjur Marg for storage facility. Currently, 10 lakh vials can be stored, but the plan is to ramp it up to 1 crore. With the efforts of frontline healthcare workers and BMC, the number of cases and deaths in Mumbai has gone down, and hence the BMC is fully confident that they are prepared to vaccinate the entire city as and when the vaccine comes. In Mumbai with camera person Praveen Rohit, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.
Welcome back. The Supreme Court will deliver its verdict today on petitions challenging the Central Vista project in the capital, which includes the new Parliament complex. Remember, the Prime Minister had performed the foundation-laying stone for the new Parliament building recently. While the centre had assured the court till the judgment is delivered, no construction would be done. Petitioners had raised concerns over the various permissions given for the change in land use and questioned the authority allowing such a change. Let's go across to Vaidya for more. And Vaidya, very, very significant the verdict today. We saw that foundation stone-laying ceremony with great fanfare earlier, though the government has not been allowed to proceed till this decision today.
Exactly. It's a very important judgment. It would be delivered around 10:30 today morning by a 3-judge bench headed by Justice Kanvilkar. Interestingly, there are 2 judgments to be delivered by 3 judges. One by Justice Kanvilkar, another by Justice Sanjeev Khanna. So mostly what happens is sometimes it may be concurring. Both judgments would be supporting the same point, or it may differ. That will be known only when the judgment is delivered at 10:30. But the centre defended the project, saying that the Parliament is unsafe, there is no earthquake proof, and also the space is very less, and more MPs will be coming after the delimitation issue. So they said it's a bigger issue. And secondly, it said it's a policy decision. A court cannot interfere. Court can interfere only if some fundamental rights are violated. So all these issues probably the Supreme Court would be answering. So we will have to see whether it's a concurring judgment or 2:2 in a differing judgment.
All right, Vaidya, thanks so much for joining us with those details. So the judgment to be declared today, several petitions had challenged the Central Vista project.
Proceeding to unveil the plaque.
Now, another round of talks with farmers took place on Monday. They've been protesting for 41 days today. There was no progress yet again. The farmers insist on repeal of the farm laws and a legal guarantee for the minimum support price. The government has not agreed. All that both sides agreed to is another round of talks.
Union ministers joining in for a 2-minute silence for those 60 farmers who have died in the 40 days of protest. But otherwise, the talks flopped on the two key demands: repeal of the 3 farm laws and a legal guarantee for the MSP, the government set price for agri-produce. Neither side refused to budge from their demands. The only thing they agreed on was another round of talks on the 8th of January.
समस्या के कानूनी पहलुओं को भी ध्यान में रखना पड़ता है, पूरे देश को भी ध्यान में रखना पड़ता है। देश में करोड़ों किसान हैं, उनकी अपनी भावनाएं हैं। सरकार ने कानून बनाया है और सरकार ने कानून बनाया है तो किसान के समग्र हित को ध्यान में रखकर ही कानून बनाया है। लेकिन किसान के प्रति भारत सरकार, नरेंद्र मोदी जी का नेतृत्व पूरी तरह संवेदनशील है। जब किसान आंदोलन पर हैं और सरकार किसान यूनियन के साथ चर्चा कर रही है, तो हमारी अपेक्षा है कि यूनियन की तरफ से वो विषय आए जिस विषय में किसान को कोई परेशानी होने वाली है।
बाइक लाओ, चर्चा कर लो, अल्टरनेटिव ले आओ। इनू असी मुद्दों रद्द करता भी ना असी चर्चा करिए, ना असी कोई अल्टरनेटिव लेके आए। असी सिर्फ ते सिर्फ रिपील दी गल करना है।
Unlike the last round of meeting, there was no breaking of bread this time. Government representatives, including the minister, had their lunch separately, while farmers had their langar, apparent sign of growing differences between the two sides. Outside, more and more farmers are headed towards the capital. These pictures from Haryana, tweeted by Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, who said, on one hand the government calls the farmers for talks, on the other hand, in this bitter cold they are throwing tear gas shells at them. Due to this stubborn and cruel behavior, about 60 farmers have lost their lives so far. The protesters continue to brave the cold wave. This elderly farmer collapsed at the Singhu border due to BP issues. He is recovering now.
The 7th round of talks between the farmers' union and the government ended inconclusive, with the government refusing to repeal the 3 contentious farm laws. The government says they are hopeful of finding a solution in the next meeting, while the farmers say that they will not accept anything less than the repealing of these 3 farm laws. With camera person Xavier, this is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
Another death by suicide has been reported in Telangana in the new year due to the alleged harassment by those running business of money lending apps. At least 5 deaths by suicide have taken place in the state. The police have arrested 29 people and 27 FIRs have been booked. Here's a report.
Chandramohan died by suicide on Saturday. His wife Sarita says the 38-year-old father of 3 girls was humiliated by phone calls and messages to all his relatives and friends that he had failed to repay loans. The warehouse supervisor had reportedly borrowed up to 80,000 rupees and already repaid over 6 lakh rupees.
మీకేమన్నా చెప్పిర్రమ్మా?
చెప్పిండు, కూడా చెప్పిండు. మా రిలేటివ్స్ కి, మా వాళ్ళకి, మా ఫ్రెండ్స్ కి అందరికి ఫోన్లు పోయిన ఇట్లా గలీజ్గా తిడుతూ ఉన్నారని భరించలేక కడతాను ఉన్నాడు. అట్లా కడుతూ ఉంటే ఇంకా ఫోన్ వచ్చి
అంటే మీకు తెలిసిన వాళ్ళకు కూడా ఏమన్నా ఫోన్ చేస్తారు?
మా చుట్టాలు వాళ్ళు, మా ఫ్రెండ్స్, మా ఇంటి పక్కన ఉన్న వాళ్ళందరికీ ఫోన్లు పోయినాయండి. ఆయన ఫోన్ హ్యాంగ్ చేసి నేను ఫోన్ కూడా స్విచ్ ఆఫ్ పెట్టేశాం.
Chandramohan had called on a toll-free number given by the police for those harassed by intimidating and humiliating calls, and he was advised to switch off his phone. But that did not help as the messages to friends and relatives continued.
ఎవరు చేస్తున్నారు, ఎక్కడికైనా వచ్చిన యాప్లు ఇవి ఏంటి, అది మాత్రం మాకు అర్థం కావట్లేదండి. అంతే. ఏ రకంగా ముగ్గురు అయితే ఆడపిల్లలు ఉన్నారు, ఏ విధంగా న్యాయం చేస్తారో వాళ్ళకు తోచినట్టు చేసుకోండి అంతే. వాళ్ళు బ్రతుకుతారా, సస్తారా, ఏం చేస్తారు తెలియదండి నాకు. నా వయసు కూడా 60 సంవత్సరాలు అయిపోయింది.
The Telangana police has appealed to people to come forward and complain
if they are facing similar harassment, and not to resort to any extreme steps. So far, 27 cases have been booked and 29 people have been arrested, including 3 Chinese nationals. Based on the FIRs filed by the Telangana police, the electronic documents and laptops seized, the Enforcement Directorate is now probing the money laundering angle to the online app investigation, as it is suspected that huge amounts of money may have flown into and out of the country illegally. In Hyderabad, with camera person Nagraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Time now for a break. Coming up on the other side, a shocker from Bhopal, vaccine trials in poor slums without informed consent of the participants. And here's a report card on this war of the vaccines, comparing the 2 vaccines that have been cleared in India.
So India now has not 1 but 2 vaccines. The question, however, is how are they different from each other? Is one better than the other? And given a choice, which one should you get? For this, let's do a head-to-head comparison of the 2. It's Oxford versus Bharat Biotech. That's Covishield versus Covaxin. Now, to begin with, Bharat Biotech is an indigenous vaccine, completely made in India. India's top scientists from the National Institute of Virology and the ICMR have worked tirelessly on its technology. And Bharat Biotech, a Hyderabad-based pharma company, is going to manufacture it. Now, Oxford, on the other hand, while not made in India, will be manufactured in India. Oxford AstraZeneca, as the name suggests, was built by scientists in the Oxford University. AstraZeneca is their production partner, and the India element here is that Serum Institute of India, that's the Poonawallas, have got the license to manufacture it here in the country. Now, apart from that, both are 2-dose vaccines. Both can be stored in refrigerator temperatures, which makes it storage friendly as well. But when it comes to efficacy, that's the big controversial question. While Oxford has been tested for an efficacy of 70%, Bharat Biotech's efficacy is still unknown. Though the internal assessment of the vaccine in phase 1 and phase 2 of the trial shows that it is effective by about 60%. However, it is not a dependable data, as it has not been peer reviewed, and the actual efficacy can only be known after phase 3 trials complete. Trials which are another major differentiator between the 2. While Oxford has done around 40,000 trials across the globe through the course of its 3 phases, Bharat Biotech has tested vaccines only on about 25,800 people. In fact, they are struggling at this point to get more volunteers to complete phase 3. Now, let's move on to the technology. Bharat Biotech shot is an inactivated vaccine, meaning the scientists at the NIV identified the India strain of the virus and figured out that if you induce that inactivated or dead virus in the body, our body then mimics the strain and develops antibodies against COVID-19. It's like how, imagine, one gets COVID and then antibodies come in. This is the same procedure without actually getting it with a shot. On the other hand, Oxford shot is a viral vector vaccine. The virus that causes chimpanzees to get the common cold is altered to make it look like COVID, and because it looks like coronavirus, the body's immune system then begins to produce antibodies and T cells to fight it. Apart from that, there is also a major differentiator in price, which again Bharat Biotech has not been very clear with, but their head does go on to say that it will be as cheap as a bottle of water. Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor, NDTV.
Meanwhile, various parts of the country are getting ready for the rollout of the vaccine, which should take place in approximately 7 to 10 days. Here's a look at the preparations in Mumbai.
A nondescript room, but part of a historic effort. Mumbai officials now say that thanks to such infrastructure they have put in place, they will be able to inoculate 1.25 lakh frontline health workers in just 8 days, about half the earlier estimated days. Here, Sion Hospital alone will be vaccinating nearly 1,000 a day. The hospital received an ice-lined refrigerator from the state government that can store approximately 50,000 doses.
That is the plan, and everything for that is getting ready. The training is going on of the nurses, the training is going on of the people who are going to be appointed, etc. So all those things are there. So we are ready with it as soon as the vaccine comes.
The hospital is training 50 doctors and 50 nurses for the process, especially if any complications develop.
All people who are taking vaccine, they are supposed to wait here for half an hour. During that half an hour, what untoward reactions can take place, that can also will be noted, and the training for the same also is being imparted in this particular thing.
BMC says it is prepared for the first vaccination phase with 8 hospitals in all.
1,25,000 हमको हेल्थ केयर वर्कर कवर करना है। वो 1,25,000 लोगों के लिए हमारा पहला तय था कि 10 से 15 दिन में हम कवर कर लेंगे, लेकिन आज की तैयारी में ये लगता है कि हम 8 दिन के भीतर ही हमारे 1,25,000 जो हेल्थ केयर वर्कर है वो कवर हो जाएंगे, उनको वैक्सीन दी जाएगी। पूरी मुंबई के लिए हमने जो एक व्यापक एक प्लान बनाया है, जिसमें करीबन 75 हमारे वैक्सीनेशन सेंटर रहेंगे और उसमें एक दिन में 50,000 लोगों को हम वैक्सीन कर पाएंगे, उनको दे पाएंगे।
BMC identified 8 hospitals, plan to have 75 more centers. The target is to immunize 12,000 people daily. Jumbo centers will also be converted to vaccine centers. BMC has identified 5,000 square feet area at Kanjur Marg for storage facility. Currently, 10 lakh vials can be stored, but the plan is to ramp it up to 1 crore.
With the efforts of frontline healthcare workers and BMC, the number of cases and deaths in Mumbai has gone down, and hence the BMC is fully confident that they are prepared to vaccinate the entire city as and when the vaccine comes. In Mumbai with camera person Praveen Rohit, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV. Welcome back. The Supreme Court will deliver its verdict today on petitions challenging the Central Vista project in the capital, which includes the new Parliament complex. The Prime Minister had performed the foundation stone-laying ceremony for the Parliament recently, but the centre had assured the court that till the judgment is delivered, no construction will be done. Petitioners had raised concerns over the various permissions given for the change in land use and questioned the authority allowing such a change. Well, let's go across to Vaidya for more on this. And Vaidya, in Delhi, this is a big controversy, especially since this is, one part of Delhi. It's like the heart of Delhi where you have the Parliament and all the various buildings, and that's going to be completely changed if the Central Vista project is allowed. But many activists and environmentalists have raised questions about this. Opposition parties have also hit out over this, questioning the huge amount of expenditure that is going to be done, especially at a time when we're undergoing a pandemic.
But as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, it's looking into whether all regulations, environmental clearances are followed and proper regulation have been applied to this whole project. So Supreme Court would be deciding that. And of course, though petitioners have raised a lot of issues saying that there was a public hearing, but that was just for the namesake. And secondly, one of the former secretaries of Environment Ministry, who is also a petitioner, she has also raised about the concerns of the environmental clearances. But as far the centre is concerned, it has defended the project, saying that court cannot interfere in the government policy decisions. It's a policy decision. Only if someone's fundamental right is violated, then court can get in. Also, centre represented by the Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General, also argued, saying that the present Parliament space is very small. It has to be expanded, and it was almost 100 years old. And he also went on to say that there is no safety measures and also no earthquake proof. So all this was the arguments by the centre. But interestingly, today the 3-judge bench will be delivering 2 judgments. One by the Justice A.M. Kanvilkar, who is heading the bench, another by Justice Sanjeev Khanna. Normally what happens is sometimes both the judgments would be concurrent, sometimes it may differ. Whether it's a concurrent or a differing judgment, we will have to wait till 10:30.
On India's vaccine strategy and the emergency authorization which has been given to 2 vaccines, Covaxin and Covishield, especially the controversy over the nod to Bharat Biotech without the efficacy data being presented. For more on this, let's go across to Uma Sudhir, who is joined by Dr. Rakesh Mishra, Director of the Centre for Cellular and Molecular Biology.
Thank you, Gargi. After this entire controversy, there's been opinions expressed both ways, and Dr. Krishna Ella of Bharat Biotech, in fact, put up a very spirited kind of a defense and said that he's being unfairly targeted and that they are a global company with a lot of experience and that this is proven technology. I'm joined by Dr. Rakesh Mishra, Director of the Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology. First of all, Dr. Mishra, what do you make of this controversy? Was it warranted at one level that without phase 3 trial results, this vaccine was given the go-ahead, the Covaxin developed by Bharat Biotech?
At this point, when we are struggling to control this pandemic and threats of new variants, new peaks coming, I think news like availability of vaccine is certainly very good news and should be a moral booster. But unfortunately, we are talking this as a controversy. So, which clearly means that there should be more communication, there should be more information, so that the regulatory mechanism which is being followed, regulatory body, I'm sure they have followed their process. India has a strong regulatory mechanism. Many times regulatory bodies are criticized for delaying, for asking for more data and so on. And in this case, they have followed procedure, I understand, because you cannot do something which is not within your procedure. Maybe always more data is better because that gives you more confidence. And we are talking about vaccine during as an emergency utilization approval. So this comes with a lot of conditions. It's not approved vaccine. None of these are approved vaccine. All the 4 or 5 of them which are there approved by the different countries, they are used only for emergency usage. So that should be put in perspective and a lot more data. Please remember that in a year we are having vaccine which is being made available to people is something unprecedented and never happened. I mean, thanks to the progress in the science and technology that we have reached at this point. But what science and technology cannot accelerate is the time that you give the vaccine and wait for people for 6 months, 1 year to know long-term effects or long-term protection of the vaccine. So that simply data is not there anywhere. That is why these are called emergency usage approvals. If person gives a consent, if it is really necessary, then you can use this vaccination alternative that you have, and it's probably a good tool for available to us for fighting this pandemic.
Dr. Mishra, you have been someone who has always said that vaccine is obviously not the solution and the more traditional methods of mask and social distancing and washing of hands is much more effective. But do you feel Bharat Biotech in a sense was unfairly singled out for criticism? Because like you're pointing out, it's probably the same for every vaccine out there, including the 2 vaccine candidates that India has approved. Technology-wise, I would also like you to comment on on the technology that's been used by Bharat Biotech as opposed to the messenger RNA technology that other vaccines seem to be employing.
So the mRNA messenger RNA technology, which is used by Pfizer and Moderna, are a new technology. They're really, I mean, I would love that becomes the future of vaccines because that's easy to make, very easy to make variations of that vaccine. And there are many other positives in that vaccine because you make a body to produce the antigen in an appropriate way as it produces for when the virus replicates in the body. So maybe more kind of personalized, I would say, antigen or vaccine is produced in the body and that's presented to the immune system, which then protects oneself. But that's very new technology. Nobody has, it has not been tried in the people. While in India, this Covaxin and Covishield, these are established protocols. There are successful vaccine stories in them, and both these companies are very strong players. They are powerhouse for vaccines, and they have been in this for a very long time. And I would think maybe data and trials, Bharat Biotech is maybe a month or 2 behind other things, but otherwise, they have similar kind of. I would like to just first say that if you are given even a stage 1 trial, that means there's reasonable confidence in the regulators that it is safe. You cannot inject people something which will harm them. Then you ask for stage 2 trial. That means you really are now more confident. And stage 3 trial, I would assume that regulators and the data is convincing that this is safe vaccine. Now, so safety-wise, I'm not sure there should be any issues. If it is not safe, it cannot be given to tens of thousands of people at the risk that even 1% of them may get harm. I mean, vaccine will have some local issues, some irritations, fever, and those things. That's a normal thing. And some with allergic thing may respond more. That happens with any vaccine. But I think we should trust the regulatory body that it is safe. How efficacy and how long its effect will be on the people. Efficacy we will know slowly as more large-scale vaccination begins, which will hopefully will begin. But how long this protection will be something which will know only with the time. There is no other way up.
Yes, Dr. Mishra, thank you so much for sharing your views. Gargi, back to you with a word that Dr. Krishna Iyer said. There is only the efficacy will only have to play out as the months go by and as we know how the vaccine progresses. But yes, they do have immunogenicity and safety data, and they are talking about the fact that yes, this is an emergency that we are in. Back to you, Gargi.
Right, Uma, thanks so much for that. And while the number of cases, daily cases in India are coming down, one worries about the UK variant, remember, which is more infectious. Now, 9 more people who were tested positive for coronavirus in the country have been found to be infected with this new mutated strain of COVID that has been reported in the United Kingdom. So with that, the total number of cases that are known so far has reached 38. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined by Sukirti, and Sneha joins us from Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. 6 cases of this new UK strain have been found. Sukirti, first to you, this is of course something that we're keeping a very close watch on, given the crisis we're seeing in the UK because of this variant, which is a lot more infectious. And so now what happens next? All the contact tracing is taking place?
Well, yes, as per the Health Ministry's statement, there have been 38 cases of the UK mutant strain in India so far, and not only are all these 38 people under institutional quarantine, but also their close contacts, and even contact tracing for any other relatives, for any other co-workers, all of that contact tracing process is still on. And as we know that from 8th of January, flights to and from UK have also been resumed. So all of those passengers that are arriving from UK, they are also being carried. Their RT-PCR test is also being done on arrival right at the Indian airports on which they are arriving. Only at few cities the flights have been allowed: Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai. So that process is still on. There's also a consortium which is carrying out the genome sequencing. There are 10 labs that are part of this entire consortium, and they are responsible for carrying out all the genome sequencing. But definitely it is a big worry because, as you pointed out, cases have shot up at a very high pace in UK because of this particular mutant strain, and that is why it continues to be a worry for India as well. And the UK mutant strain has been one of the justifications also from the government on the speedy approval that they've given to Bharat Biotech as well. They say that Bharat Biotech is being given an approval, especially in light of the UK mutant strain, because they feel that it is likely to be more effective against the UK mutant strain than the other vaccines that are for whom the trials are being conducted in India. So India at this point of time saying that all their strategies are in place, but the numbers going up is definitely a big concern.
All right, and Sneha, what about the cases in Kerala that have been reported? All the people had returned from the UK.
Well, absolutely, yes. In fact, a total of 29 samples among those who had tested positive was sent to the laboratory in Pune, and the results, the first batch of around 11 had not tested positive for this particular mutant strain, but the next 6 have now there are around 6 who have now tested positive, according to Kerala Health Minister, who spoke to the media late last evening. There are even more tests which are test results which are awaited of these 29 samples that were sent. So that is also being closely monitored. In terms of what is the status right now, all 6 of these people who have tested positive for this mutant strain of coronavirus linked to UK, that was confirmed first in UK, all of them have been hospitalized, they are in isolation, they are under treatment. The contact list of all of these people has been prepared according to the Kerala Health Minister, and the various contacts, primary, secondary contacts, are under the surveillance of the Health Ministry. Now, what the Health Minister has also appealed to people is anyone who might have slipped the contact tracing or is not under the surveillance should kindly voluntarily reach out to the Health Minister. So right now, no need of panic is what the Health Minister has said. However, the Health Minister also reiterating again and again the need for caution at a time when relaxations have eased in several parts of Kerala. Life seems to be coming up to a normal, even though movie halls have been allowed to open in Kerala now with 50% seating capacity. It's not opening as of now. There are certain decisions that need to be taken, in terms of markets and everything also being opened. So KK Shailaja, the Health Minister, asking only important work, livelihood and other essentials.
All right, so Sneha, they're telling us about the 6 cases of the UK variant being reported in Kerala and how the contact tracing is taking place. Now, on Sunday, the big news was that 2 vaccines have got emergency use authorization approval by the drugs body. Now, UP today is holding a COVID vaccination dry run across its 75 districts as the vaccination process is expected to start in 7 to 10 days. This is after 3 days after holding a dry run at 6 locations in Lucknow. The dry run will be held in 3 urban and 3 rural areas of each of the UP districts. Let's go across to Alok for more on this. So Alok, tell us what exactly happens in a vaccine dry run.
Well, I think we've already seen evidence of what happens 3 days ago when dry runs happened across the country. It's just that UP is taking it to another level by trying to hold the dry runs in all 75 districts. Basically, all workers associated with the dry run, with the vaccination program that will happen eventually, will have to be present at a designated hospital or a space where they will go through all the motions of how that vaccination will take place, including starting from a person coming into their center to him or her being identified, to that person being vaccinated and then sent along back to their particular places. So all of that will be rehearsed. I must point out that, it is nothing new for a state like UP because we've seen massive immunization programs in the past too, in UP and elsewhere in the country. But I think it's always good to iron out whatever creases there may be ahead of the actual vaccination. The bigger question, I think, is twofold, Gargi. Number one, the challenge of vaccinating, a substantial population in Uttar Pradesh, which is over 20 crores right now, as things stand. And second, when does it actually start? The Chief Minister, Mr. Adityanath, a few days ago in Gorakhpur indicated that it will start around Makar Sankranti. There's been a similar or maybe a plus minus 5 days indication from the central government. So I think that date at the moment is not fixed, but certainly all eyes will be on Uttar Pradesh because it is India's most populous state at the end of the day. And organizing anything like this is a logistical challenge. But the good thing is that UP in the past, like other states, has carried out, say, pulse polio drives, other vaccination immunization drives. So their ANMs, their ASHA workers, the people who will be at the ground are already experienced. They just need to iron out stuff, and that's why these dry runs.
All right, Alok, thanks so much for joining us with those details. So dry run in all districts of UP today. With that, time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll take a look at the weather. Stay with us. Welcome back. More than 1,700 migratory birds were found dead till Saturday due to an unexplained cause in the Pong Dam area of the Kangra district in Himachal Pradesh. The local administration has now suspended all tourism activities in the reservoir's precincts till further orders. The Kangra Deputy Commissioner cum District Magistrate, in orders issued under the Disaster Management Act, said no human and domestic livestock activity would be allowed in a 1 kilometer periphery of the dam reservoir till further orders. The area has been declared as an alert zone. And let's now take a look at the weather forecast. It's over to Divya.
Very good morning, Gargi. Yes, the temperatures are rising like we had expected. In fact, the temperature is more than 13 degrees in the national capital. Yesterday it was coming at 11.4, which is 4 degrees more than the norm. But if you see temperatures all across the northwest plains, they have been on a rise. Temperatures are up almost 8 to 10 degrees from what's usually expected at this time of the year. This is happening because heavy snowfall and rainfall has been seen over the higher reaches, whether it's Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh or even in Uttarakhand. Heavy showers are expected in parts of Punjab as well as Tamil Nadu and Puducherry today. But when we take into account those cold wave conditions, those have abated from most parts of the country. It's only in Saurashtra and Kutch where cold wave conditions continue to prevail. But as in the course of the day, we are expecting thunder showers, which could also cause thunderstorm as well as lightning in parts of Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, also in parts of Jammu, Himachal Pradesh as well as Uttarakhand. We are expecting thunder showers in most parts of central India as well. So Madhya Pradesh will see lots of showers coming in. So will be the case in Rajasthan. Well, heavy showers are expected towards the southern tip. Like I mentioned, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry will see very heavy showers coming in as well. But the temperature will start to rise because we are expecting another spell of cold wave, which is expected from the 7th of January. So between now and the 7th of January, the temperature will stay on the higher side. It will only start to drop from then. Between now and the 7th of January, no change is expected as far as the minimum temperatures are concerned, which are 8 to 10 degrees, like I mentioned, above the norm. With that, it's a wrap on this bulletin. News and updates will continue.